Gurthua da. Thank you, Miraz. Thank you so much for that lovely intro. Um, yeah, it's an honor to have my debut published by Broken Sleep and be edited and looked over and looked after by the wonderful team at Broken Sleep, and to be here reading with all of you tonight as well. Thanks, Charlie, for that wonderful reading to start with. I'm looking forward to the rest of the readers tonight. Yeah, this is Health Hireth. Hireth is the feeling of longing for a home that no longer exists or may have never existed, and my pamphlet is kind of about that, both with health. I've been quite sick throughout a lot of my life. I'm type 1 diabetic, and various other things wrong with me. And that feeling of, can you be healthy again? What is health? While also touching on things like the Cornish language, Cornish identity, sex and gender as well. So I've tried to tie together a bunch of disparate themes, which I think I've been successful at, with a bare bones story that runs through the whole pamphlet as well in order. The first poem I'll read for you tonight is a short one called Brongleis A and E. Nights out were pills and needles, just not in the way you warned against. Dancing in sporadic spots of warmth, waiting for my heartbeat to tell me no. We made music to the rhythm of monitors. The wires in my veins, a string section, beat a samba on the scar tissue of my groin. Teeth chattering a fever chill percussion. He told me to bend, press my legs tight against my chest, gentle hands keeping me steady, like a vet might. And as Aaron says, I'm first language Cornish speaker, so it'd be wrong for me not to read at least one of the Cornish language poems that are in this book. There are a few, and they do have the translations in there this time for you to see what they mean. And this one is called An Edhin Varro, the dead bird. It's from a true thing that happened where I found this desiccated, mummified bird in my Mamwin's library, my grandmother's library, a couple of years ago now, and wondered about how it got there and who might be missing it on the outside. An Edhin Varro. Merig dysgwydda an Edhin Varro, y byrffethyn liferth goth, I flwyfenno o papi a mashe blwydd, o treheddes a drws I esgern hedor, gyparha gwelini in dan tros. Mefin bos mart gles a fel na, in cosg distroch gan zanjith sblan, in cres disroch pan usin bys o disgweddus in enep gwir, plyfogo, a dro them sgorforno. Me am wofyn, ys bunans gans I teulu, me am wofyn as bir lanzo o unonzi, glas hag byw geparhau flwyfenno tawesic, geparhad tas an teithi cawsel a garenza, gans chons fyth na mwy I leferol. And if you want to know what that means, you can buy the book. The next poem I like to do, since Broken Sleep is such a wonderful supporter of doing stuff slightly weirdly, this is a poem that I've never thought really about reading out loud, because it's very much pagey, is formatted to replicate a specific kind of mood. It's called hypoglycemia because it is supposed to be replicating the feeling of a hypoglycemic attack. When your blood sugar is low, you become disoriented and confused, and many other symptoms as well. And this is about waking up in the middle of the night with that. Clock strikes. Wake up. Cold sweat. Searchlight. Breadcrumb. Realize. Minotaur. Unstable. Ignored blood. Lo, I feast. Hard. 2 a.m. Shake. Stumble. Biscuit tin maze. I am walls. My fault. Sacrifice left sweetly. Trying. Clock strikes hard 2 a.m. Wake up. Shake. Cold sweat, stumble, searchlight. Biscuit tin, breadcrumb, maze. Realize I am Minotaur. Walls unstable. My fault ignored, sacrifice. Blood left low. Sweetly I feast. Trying to be human. If I timed this correctly, I should have enough time to do two more. This one is Carrick Laws and Cause. It is so Carrick Laws and Cause is the Cornish language name for St Michael's Mount and the Mounts Bay area of Cornwall. Those of you who've never been to Cornwall will probably still recognize it from photographs. It is a castle on a rock in the middle of the ocean in this bay. Very similar to Mont Saint-Michel in France. In fact, the name is the same thing. Carrick Laws and Cause, however, means the grey rock in the wood. And that might seem like a strange name to have for a rock that's in the sea, but that's because once the tide comes out, you will find petrified wood around it. And so there is some kind of ancestral memory in the Cornish language name for this place that still holds that remembrance of a time long ago when there was a forest there. And that's what this poem is about, the change in land and the effect it has on culture and people. Carrick Laws in Cause. Mounts Bay was a forest once. Ancient name, a eulogy to greenery. Made stone long before we mixed sandcastles into bricks. Along the shore, roots swim waterlogged, caught like leaves in gusts, drowning in the currents. It will remember us, even as we are taught to forget, petrified, squeezing blood from the shale to explain away the colourful artifacts. What new names they will give them, a salt never tasted by our tongues, leaving only museums of the shoreline and tales to tell someone else's children. Finally, I'd like to leave you with a poem called Trelawney Wing, named for the coronary care ward in Royal Cornwall Hospital, where the hospital where I was born, where I spent a large amount of my childhood, and also the specific ward where my Mamwin, my grandmother, was convalescing after a heart attack in the beginning of 2020. She's still going strong, no matter what this poem may say. This is Trelawney Wing. Thank you all so much for listening to me tonight. This will be my final poem. Really appreciate you all. A familiar green smell fills my stomach with moths, searching for the light of my mouth. The familiar eggshell halls stretch serpent wings, coiling around my wrists. I still don't know my way around the labyrinth. Mum knows, like a mother knows a child. My Mamwin is there. She is not yet 90. Secretly, we wonder whether to plan for a birthday. A single bed, surrounded by yellowing walls, a man as old as her lies alone. For a moment, I think I recognize him, heart begging for a ceasefire. Her bed is beside a window, in the corner furthest from the door, the weather outside as changeable as her pulse. Opposite is a photograph of Land's End. Mum says it's the only time she has ever seen the sun shine on Land's End. Manwyn says she doesn't think the colour of my nails suits me. I laugh, as if it's the only way I know how to breathe, and start picking the polish to the beat of the machines. I cannot meet anyone's gaze, afraid of what I might see. I search the room for anything to say, finding only crosswords unsolved, littering the table and grey clouds outside. My eyes flit from generation to generation and up to curtain rails like monorails circling towns in desperate need of regeneration, which may do more harm than good. She is too tired to speak. Body gentrified by needles. I am afraid of what my last words to her might be, but I'm there. Even if it's goodbye, I'm there to say it. Even if I don't. Miraz, thank you all so much.